Hi, I'm Sean, one of the news editors at Manx Radio. Now, the topic of the introduction of 20 mile per hour speed limits in residential areas hasn't been too far from the news in recent weeks. A consultation period for residents in Douglas and Onchan is ongoing, and the DOI is hosting drop-in sessions for those who want to see the plans and ask questions to get more information. Ahead of the first of those sessions taking place, myself and Ben were joined on Manx Radio Breakfast by Infrastructure Minister Michelle Haywood. Now, ahead of a proposed rollout of 20 mile per hour zones in residential areas, the Infrastructure Minister will be hosting two drop-in sessions for Douglas and Onchan residents. The first of those will be taking place at the Sea Terminal in Douglas from 1pm to 4pm today. And Dr Michelle Haywood joins us live in the studio this morning ahead of that first session. So, Minister, just why have these drop-in sessions been put on?
They're an integral part of where we've promised to consult about what's going on. So I think the important thing to say now is that 20 mile an hour in residential zones is happening because that's the decision that Tynwald has made. The question is where those 20 mile an hour zones are going. And I think even when people tell me, well, I don't agree with 20 mile an hour zones, actually they then say, but I do around schools and nurseries and care homes and things like that. So there is a general agreement that we're having them. It's the question of where they're going. And this is the chance to have those detailed conversations.
Now, you've touched on there has been some backlash, some criticism of these plans. What kind of reception are you expecting?
I'm hoping that people will come down and sensibly discuss the plans that are up. I think if you look at the contrast, we've separated Douglas and Onchan into the individual constituencies, and if you look at those, you can do a comparison. And we've got the before and after up, so you can see where the new roads are going. We know when we published the maps the first time that said this is everything that's going to be 20. What we missed saying was actually 127 miles of road are already 20 miles an hour. So, and those were all included in it. So it looked like it was a massive change, and that provoked some upset. So we've got the maps there. I've got the officers that developed the algorithm that basically has come up with where we think we want to put the 20 miles an hour. And this is a chance to talk about where that's actually happening.
Now, in terms of the timings of these sessions, the one this afternoon is 1 till 4. The one next week, 3:30 till 7pm. That's an extension.
Yeah. The scoop. We've got the update one. Yeah, we've extended it.
And do you think that is enough time for those who are busy with work?
The consultation has been running now for a couple of weeks. There is an online portal that you can go through and you can comment on the individual roads. That will keep running. That's available 24 hours a day. That will keep running until the 4th of July. So this is part of the engagement piece, and I believe it's going to be, probably there'll be some people who can make it today, but there are others who've just been emailing us with their comments as well.
Now, there has been some concern as well, we've seen in the last week or so, about signposts popping up. You issued a statement last week saying essentially that there weren't going to be more signposts for a while there was some confusion around that. What's your thought on the reaction to that?
Well, the confusion is that everyone's assuming that because there's posts going in that there are 20 mile an hour signs going on them. That isn't the case. Some of these were due to be placed anyway. So some of them are part of a programme. What we've done is, because everyone was getting rather worried about it, we've pressed pause on it and installing any more signs, so that there hasn't been anything done over the last week to 10 days or so. It was a week ago, I think we did the statement, wasn't it? Yeah, so there hasn't been anything done in the last week, to my knowledge. So, essentially we're just waiting to see now what the results of the consultation are and which roads that we are going to change to 20s.
Just on that note, Minister, just good to get some clarity on this. In the last half hour, we've had a couple of texts in that actually poles have appeared around the Williston area, and a message from Jane saying new poles at the Cronkbourne end of Tremode Road. So can you sort of clarify what's happening there? Are you aware of these poles that have appeared?
Have you got information there about when they were put in?
Not exactly.
Yeah. I suspect this might have been before we've suspended work, because it was just last Friday that things were pressed on pause. So it's almost certain that we will need poles in places, whether we're putting a 20 mile an hour sign or a 30 mile an hour sign on them. I know there was some concern about a road that comes off of Vicarage Road, and it is a really short, small cul-de-sac. And under the law currently, it would be 30 miles an hour. it is almost certainly going to be 20 miles an hour, and there have to be poles to tell you as you come off Vicarage Road, which is staying at 30 miles an hour. So there are bits like that where it's absolutely clear that it is residential areas, and in fact probably some of those roads never should have been 30 miles an hour because they're too small to even do that kind of speed in safely.
Well, Jane is one of the contributors who messaged about these two new poles at the Cronkbourne end of Tremode Road. I'm just going to read you the rest of her text. She says, "I'm disgusted that all this money can be spent without the correct procedures followed. They appear to be running roughshod over the legislative process and spend taxpayers' money without any personal sanctions." Can you sort of understand those thoughts when poles do appear to be popping up out of nowhere?
With all due respect to Jane, I don't know what the poles are there for, and perhaps neither does she. I know that my department works on a lot of process, and there are a lot of road signs that they're going around replacing all the time. I don't know why these ones are there. I can undertake to go and find out what exactly the intention is for those poles. Do I think that we've ridden roughshod over people? No, I think we're in the part of a process. Tim Ward agreed that we were going to have 20 miles an hour in residential streets, and it didn't specify what those are. So the department's come up with a set of criteria that does set out what we think residential streets are. We published the maps in March, and that's our recommendations as to where we think those zones should go. And this is the consultation, and this is the chance to talk about the detailed bits and get local knowledge about how you understand a road to be used, what you understand the pedestrian traffic around that area is like, and to actually contribute and say, well, actually, yes, this road I agree with, but perhaps this road I don't, and give us the reasons for why. So this is absolutely a process that is engaging with people right down at the granular level.
Jane's just been back on, actually. I think she's saying that she saw these for the first time yesterday, these poles at the end of Tremode Road, and she says, I walk this every day. So if you are able to get some clarity,
I'll find out about
that would be great. Thank you. Just last time you were on the programme with us, this was around about a month ago, you said that when this whole idea was put out to the Manx public, communication was somewhat lacking at the beginning, allowing the horse to somewhat bolt. So now those poles are appearing in Onchan and potentially other areas, and you having to release that statement to reassure the public this isn't a done deal. So do you think good and effective communication and PR on this issue has been really lacking from your department?
I think what my department did was follow the statutory process, publish a traffic order, give everyone 2 weeks to email in. I think what was missed on this was not your standard traffic order. This is a significant change for a lot of people.
So in this instance, was that good enough?
No, and I've apologised to the House of Keys and said it wasn't good enough, and we're reviewing how those processes go, because we know that there are times when things happen by routine that actually entirely legally, but it's not appropriate, and perhaps officers didn't recognise some of the political and social noise that there would be around this, and that people would want to have an input. So the process we've now got, which is a consultation process that runs right to the end of the year, will roll around the whole island, having those discussions with every community, and it's going to be one of the biggest engagement and consultation pieces that government's ever done. And that's right, because it's important.
Now, with that consultation period, when are we likely to see changes starting to happen?
So the consultation for Douglas and Onchan finishes on the 4th of July. My anticipation is that then for the rest of that month that we'll be analysing that consultation. We'll be looking to see what comments have been made about roads and where it's going to be. And then I anticipate that we'll be able to issue traffic orders at the end of July, if not early into August. So my hope is that we've got the signs up, especially around the schools, before the schools go back in September. So, it will be a fairly sort of rapid response once we've gone through the consultation results.
Thank you for making it to the end of the Manx Radio newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider, so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you.